Welcome to Big Blue Breakdown. It's your host, as always, Mullet Man Matthew Lyle, joined by Michael Bucknasty II and Christopher King of the Hill III. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Doing good, Mullet Matt. How you doing, big guy? How's that mullet coming?
It's Mullet Update 2019. It's time to break into the first Mullet Breakdown. It's going. Slowly.
It's going.
But, it's slowly. It's almost like when you want a nice yard. You can do it one or two ways. You can treat and baby and grow your yard, or you can go out and get the fake sod put down. It just doesn't hold up as well. So I'm growing it the good old-fashioned way. It's starting to just be longer in the back than it is on the sides. Not a whole lot. You can't really tell, but if you get in there and you look around, you'll notice.
So it's like a mini party in the back?
Oh, I wouldn't even call it a party. I'd call it a small get-together.
Small get-together. Okay.
It's
like a book club in the back.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, just a dinner with friends. Like just a couple people. Just a small gathering.
I like it, man. I like where it's going.
And in the front, it's just a lunch. We're not business yet. It's just a lunch in the front, dinner with friends in the back.
Like, seriously, man, I'm not going to lie. This is probably the one thing in 2019 that I'm looking forward to the most.
You know what? It's going to be like, ironically, it's going to be like our 10 wins for Kentucky season. It took us a long time. It took us a while, from game 1 to game 10. There was some ups, there was some downs, there was some close calls, there was some sad moments. That's how this is going to be. This is how the Mullet Mania 2019 is going to be. It's not going to be an overnight success. There's going to be some greatness. There's going to be some downsides. There's going to be some disappointments. There's going to be some setbacks. But, my friend, when we come to the end of 2019, embrace greatness.
Can't rush greatness, man.
And, if you guys cannot tell, Chris is very, very jealous because he can't grow hair.
You're exactly right.
He can only grow like this side, like the clown look. So he's very, very jealous right now.
That's right. I'm extremely jealous. Anyone with hair, I'm totally jealous.
If my hair is the UK football, then I think it's fair to say that Chris's hair is Louisville football.
Oh.
That it's just such a mess that he just had to give up on it and attempt some sort of restart.
It is a complete dumpster fire.
A complete overhaul is due.
Complete. That's why I just stick to the beard, man.
All right. Thing of beauty. Mike, anything you want to add on this little pre-show banter?
Hey,
anything you want to go in before we dive in?
I definitely like the little hair joke stab at the Cards. I might have to add that to the list of puns for clicks. Shameless plug there.
I always would. I would always encourage anything that can kick the Cardinals while they're down. I'm all for it. So we're going to move on in. Just 2 glorious days ago, Kentucky secured their 10th win with a 27-24 victory over number 12 Penn State in the Citrus Bowl. Before we dive into the game, let's just get what was our overall takeaway? So we're going to start with you, Chris. What was your overall takeaway of the Citrus Bowl victory?
My overall takeaway? Well, the first half, honestly, was kind of boring. I don't think either team, both teams combined were 0 for 15 on third down conversions. I mean, that was kind of boring. Really, the big takeaway for me that first half was special teams. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I never would have picked special teams being one of the facets of the game that, it would make a big impact. But first half, man, it totally did. Our special teams was great. We had Terry Bowden the first score of the game was a punt return touchdown. Terry Bowden. We had
whoa! Isn't Terry Bowden like an old Florida State coach? It's Lynn Bowden.
Whatever, same thing.
Get the name right.
And then we blocked a field goal, I believe. Josh Allen blocked a field goal. Josh Allen, man. What's Josh Allen just being Josh Allen? Benny being Benny. Terry played horrible first half. I didn't think Benny was going to be able to put the whole team on his back and carry us like he did. But man, he was pretty vocal before the game about wanting to get that to be the all-time rushing leader at Kentucky, which he succeeded. So congratulations to him. I don't know, man. It was just a great game. First half was pretty boring. Second half was great. Third quarter was awesome. We exploded third quarter, scored 17 points. The end of the game was pretty – I mean, it was a little too close for me. That last 8 minutes, I think I bit off every single one of my fingernails to the nub because I was pretty nervous. But all in all, man, it was a great game. Very great game. It's probably – I mean, every other ball game that I've watched has been a blowout. Except for this one, it was close. And I mean, I think that's kind of what you want in your ball games, really. But it was a great game. 10 wins. I mean, how can you not be excited for next year? And how can you not be excited to be a Kentucky football fan this year? You know, it's probably this team. I'm going to go ahead and say it. This team that's the best Kentucky football team I've ever seen. I think that any of us have ever seen. This is the first 10-win season since 1977.
Yes, sir.
So we're getting all kinds of monkeys off our back this year. We beat Florida. We got 10 wins. We've got multiple players breaking all kinds of school records and stuff. We're fixing to see a Kentucky player be drafted first, second, third overall. It would not surprise me to see Josh Allen be picked the first overall draft pick, in the draft this year. He's going to go first, second, or third. I'm calling it now. He's got to. The man's a beast. I hate that he's got to graduate and leave, but, it happens.
All right. Yeah, what about you, Mike? Let's focus just on that Citrus Bowl game. What was your takeaway? Feel free to take me through the game. Whatever emotions you were feeling, just what was your takeaway?
Just to add to that real quick, he is probably the best overall player in the draft, but he probably won't go in the top 5 simply just because of the way the draft works and teams trading up, like etc. But back to the game here, the bowl game at hand. It started out good. I mean, the offense never really clicked like I don't think until like that third quarter with that what was it, a 17-point third quarter, I do believe, and then I think we kind of took the foot off the gas. We kind of relaxed just like a tad bit, but in learning how to win, learning how to close out a game, finally, we closed out the game. We did allow Penn State to score 17 points in the fourth quarter, which sucks. But at the end of the day, a win's a win, a Citrus Bowl win, and now I feel Kentucky has that winning culture. Like, we are expected to win now. And now when we walk on the field, we are not going to be satisfied with 6 wins, 7 wins season. It is, we're going to be wanting 9 wins and a New Year's 6-day bowl, from here on out. And hopefully we can live up to that expectation. I think we can. With the team that we have coming back, losing Snell probably and Josh Allen. Like, I don't know if Snell has officially said he's going to the draft, but I think all expectations
he has.
Oh, okay, like he has.
Yeah, he said right after the game he was.
Okay, I must have missed that then. But in all reality, I'm glad we finally closed out a game that we gave up. That we never gave up the lead, but the Penn State made it close. They came on strong in the fourth quarter, scoring 17 points to make it that 27-24 game. Finally closed it out. Kind of excited about it. Definitely momentum going on into this final recruiting month that we have, and on to the 2019 football season.
So yeah, it was a fun game. It was really what I think. Now, me and Mike did the show Sunday, and there were some concerns, and I'll be honest with you, those concerns still stand, Mike. We won pretty much relying on guys who won't be here next year. 100%. I wanted to see this bowl be a transition into 2019. Now, Lynn Bolden did have a great punt return, and ironically, the kid took 5 punt returns total. He's had 5 punt returns, and 2 of them went for touchdowns, and they couldn't be a bigger moment. Penn State, and then a big flip moment at Missouri. So that's kind of was a nice little positive that I saw. but I'm a little disappointed that leaning on Benny Snell, leaning on Josh Allen, two guys who will not be here next year. So sometime in the off season, we're going to have to find a way to fill that void in practice, which is very tough to do, compared to having game time. But the game went how I would like for how I think Kentucky is going to be successful. The first couple quarters, Chris said Terry Wilson played horrible. I felt like he tried to I felt like his first down throws were bad, and then he tried to do too much on some later down throws. But I feel like that's what his role is going to be. The first half of the game, we're going to have A.J. Rose and some other running backs next year, probably more of a committee. And the first half's going to be Terry Wilson find out what's successful, and then the run game. And then in the third quarter, that's when you notice all the checkdowns. That's when you notice screens to Lynn Bowden, little dump-offs to
CJ, finally. They finally got CJ in the game. Yeah. It took all the way to the third quarter, but they finally did.
Now, that is my biggest frustration. On a side note, that was my biggest frustration of the season. I felt like last year with Steven Johnson, we knew we was handicapped at the quarterback position, so we ran 3 simple plays, and a lot of them was RPOs, and it led to some good offense. Terry, I think, is a lot better than Steven Johnson, but I felt like we gave him too big of a playbook. I felt like if we would have gave him that 5, 6, 7 plays that we gave Steven Johnson, we would have been much better off. But anyway, so
let's go ahead, man. No, I just Terry. His very first throw for his very first throw of that game? I mean, was a 6-yard slant route, and he was 20 yards off the mark. I mean, throws like that have got to be automatic. They've got to be automatic. I mean, he can't. He can't rely on just his legs.
Okay, we can talk about Terry off season. I mean, he's the only quarterback probably going on the roster I think Gunner may end up leaving if we don't somehow entice him to stay, and a bunch of freshmen. So we can talk about Terry and his area of work all off season. The thing that I felt, because I felt it happened to me, and I'm just one person, I can imagine how it was in the crowd. When Benny took that 10-yard touchdown, and it broke the record, and it put us up, 27-7? When it put us up, 12 yards, whatever it may be. Either way, it broke the record, and it gave us a 3-touchdown lead. When that happened, I felt like that was it. I felt like we had won the game.
Yep.
And if y'all remember, at that time, number 9 hadn't came back in. There was reports that he had like a broken foot. He wasn't coming back. He was talking to his parents in the stands.
Trayson
Short. I thought that was it. But then here he comes, slings the ball everywhere, which I guess is kind of fitting of this season, that nothing, if you look at it, nothing was going to be handed at any of these 10 wins. Nothing was going to come easy. Other than the out-of-conference game, none of the conference games came easy. Vanderbilt was a 7-point win. Missouri took an untimed play at the end of the game. Florida, even though I felt like we was in control of the entire Florida game, they were on the move. They had a drive. They could have done something, So I felt like that was very fitting of the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we got that 10th win. To Mike's point, I'm a little the consensus coming into this season was that we was a better team than last year, but we had a tougher schedule. And we fought that off and won 10 games. That's great. My concern next year is the thing I'm watching for next year is it's an easier schedule, but I don't know if we won't be as good. Let's be honest. Our defense is going to struggle, and it's going to be a lot on our offense. I want to see, and there's to Mike's point about winning culture. I think we're close. But next year is going to be that year, guys. Next year is the one where we're going to have to win 10 games. And I don't know who's going to make it. Our recruiting class was 30th, which is about average for what Mark Stoops does. I don't know who's coming out of there who's going to be an instant impact guy. You can't replace Josh Allen, who I do think will be a top 3 pick. I'm excited about the win, but me and Mike talked. If you could have gave me 2 options, a win, but Benny Snell carried us, or a loss, but we put up 40 points on our offense, I would have almost taken the loss. But knowing that Terry Wilson threw for 6 touchdowns, that knowing that Terry Wilson put up 400 yards passing, or that A.J. Rose had 150 yards rushing, I would have almost rather had the loss. But seeing greatness, or I shouldn't use the word greatness, but seeing huge strides from our offense, then get the win. But we lean very heavily on Josh Allen, our seniors, Benny Snell.
And
so, we got it, but
on the on the other side of things, yes, we did. Yes, Josh Allen did have a huge game, and kind of, he is definitely the heart and soul of that team. But if you look at the recruiting class, we do have a couple good linebackers coming in to maybe not fill that role 100%, but that what's his name? Jared Casey from here in town. I believe he is a 4-star recruit, and I've seen this kid play. He is no slouch. I mean, he is no Josh Allen either, but that drop off, if he starts as a true freshman, which I think he might, he still has it. I mean, he's a very, very good player. So, I mean, him learning in this experienced defense from this year, from the first game that like he plays to the 12th game in his first season, you will see night and day. I guarantee it.
I mean, yeah, I get that, and I think he will be good. I think him and Weaver and the Moses kid we got at safety, Moses Douglas, and we had a transfer at cornerback. But the problem is, outside of Cash, there's not going to be Cash Daniels. There's not going to be a big-time senior that played a huge role in this year's team. You're going to have some seniors on that front four. You're going to have Cash Daniels, of course, but you're losing your entire secondary. And that's my only concern is, are these guys going to be able to navigate it? Because if you look at that schedule next year, there's 5 games that I think are surefires. All 4 out-of-conference games, and, of course, Louisville, that's 4. And then I think Arkansas, who's really a bad team. So I think there's 5 really just gimme games. Then there's 3 that's up in the air. Vanderbilt. I'm drawing a blank. There's Vanderbilt. There's South Carolina, who we pretty played well against. We get Tennessee at home. I don't know how much better they'll be. The Missouri. I was thinking we were going to slack Missouri, but now they picked up Kelly Bryant. I hope our secondary comes ready to play. And then you got Florida at home, at Mississippi State, and at Georgia, which are going to be tough in their own way. So I think 9-10 wins is possible for next year, but man, we're going to have to grow early on offense and late on defense.
On the positive side of things, we do have 8 home games this next year. So,
right.
So if we just do well at home, win all the home games. Yes, we do play Florida at home. Yes, we do play Missouri at home and Tennessee at home. All very losable games, but all very winnable games as well. We just got to pick 2 games up on the road, and we travel to Mississippi State and South Carolina. So, and even Vanderbilt. So really the only loss you can really probably check up for this next year, and obviously way too early pick 'em type of game. But when you travel to Georgia in the mid-October, I do believe it is. I mean, that's pretty much the only loss you can really chalk up on that board.
Well, I think next year's team, and I'm okay with it. I think next year's team going to be mirror but flip this year's team. I think we're going to come in, and there's so much time. There's going to be negativity. There's going to be optimism. There's going to be pessimistic over the next 6 months until we get back into. But I think what's going to happen is, kind of this year, a lot of people said, "Oh, the defense is going to be pretty good." No, the defense was great.
Right.
And I think that's going to be we're not going to be as great on offense, but I think a lot of people come in here saying, "Oh, our offense is going to be mediocre." No, I think our offense, once we figure everything out, is going to be pretty good. It's our defense is going to be concerning. I'm with you, Mike, that I think you're not going to be able to run all over us. But I think if our young guys can't get to the quarterback, our secondary is going to cause a problem.
But on the positive side of that, there were a lot of sophomores like this year. Me and Chris looked at this way long ago, earlier in the season. A lot of those sophomores in the secondary did play quite a bit. So they
really the only one that played was Nesbitt. He's gone.
Well, but they still got a lot of playing time in. Like not like 3 or 4 quarters, but like they played probably equivalent to a quarter and a half, 2 quarters every game.
I think I'd have to look at that because the only one I remember playing very much is number 23.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. No. So he's going to be okay. But you got to remember, we didn't play much backups in the cornerbacks because we had 3 seniors. We had Johnson, Beatty, and Westry. So they were kind of all rotating. We had Mike Edwards and Darius West playing the safety spot. And so they didn't get a whole much swap. Now, like I said, linebacker, Chris Oates got to play. Square got to play. Boogie Watson got to play a lot. So I'm good there. I'm just curious what these guys are going to do. And you might be right, Mike. They might come out there and say, now is my time, and come up with some big interceptions or at least some big passes.
Yeah.
We've also just been leaning a lot on our side. Those cornerbacks all average 6'3" to 6'4". These guys don't. So I'll be very interested to see how that plays. To your point about the schedule, I think we're going to have the same thing this year had. We're going to have the one obvious loss at Georgia. I think we're going to have the one Mississippi, the one road game this year with Texas A&M. I think next year it'll be Mississippi State, and then we're going to have that one game where we go out and lay an egg. Last year it was Tennessee. This year I think it's going to be Florida. I think it's going to be earlier in the season. We're trying to gel, and then we'll bounce back. I'm very optimistic about the team next year, especially that home stretch when you got Missouri, Vandy, Tennessee, Martin, and then Louisville. I think that's where you're going to see that next year's team just really flex their muscle and say, we're here, and Kentucky shows 10-1 team.
Yeah, it would be awesome to, let's say we do lose to Georgia, which is, let's be honest, Georgia is a very good team, but then you rip off five straight wins heading into a bowl game. Very, very good.
Yeah, and look, next year, I'm thinking, and we talked about this, Mike, on other shows. I'm thinking next year's the year Georgia and Bama both get in the tournament. As silly as that sounds.
Probably. I
think that happens. And the reason I want that to happen is, yes, I like the SEC be successful, but next year, if next year's guys can be 10, 11 wins, that's how you get to Sugar Bowl. That's how you get – and Mike, you're going to laugh because the way it blew up in Georgia's face this year. As a Kentucky fan, the reason I want to go to the Sugar Bowl is because you're stuck playing a Big 12 team, and if you get you get a Big 12 team into the playoff, you start paying that second-tier Big 12 team. I mean, this year Georgia or Texas embarrassed Georgia, but if we could get like a downtrodden, like a West Virginia type team, I think that would set us up really well to win a Big 12 or a Sugar Bowl.
It would definitely project you for the next season, as well. I mean, like I know the 2020 football season is quite a ways away, but if you get a Sugar Bowl win, if you get a Citrus Bowl win and then a Sugar Bowl win, I mean that makes recruiting that much easier.
Oh yeah, man. Any New Year's Six Bowl win is huge. That's huge.
And you can talk about SEC bias and the SEC overreach and love too much if you want. But one thing I feel like if you're rooting for a top 5 SEC team, you're not, unless you're up there with Bama, you're not going to be disappointed by the bowl you get.
Unless you're
I think that's why I think Georgia was the one exception. I think that's why you saw Florida have such a big gap over Michigan. Michigan didn't want to be there. Florida did.
No.
We're not. Hey, Chris,
no. The
your
gap
team got annihilated.
No.
Your team got annihilated. We're not talking.
Yeah, they got annihilated because half of the damn
UCF
defensive starters didn't want to play in their bowl game. They didn't want to play in their bowl game.
You were out 4 starters. You were out 4 starters.
Yeah, 4 big starters.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you about this. This was the argument I've been making. If 4 starters causes you to lose by 40 points, then you weren't a championship team to begin with.
I beg to differ on that. Like if you're losing 4 defensive starters, like your captain and your leading tackler and your leading
which that's what it was.
Yeah,
two captains, our leading tackler, our leading sack guy. I mean, come on, man. There were way too many variables in that game. Way too many fucking.
And you gave up, but you gave up 40 to a really bad Florida offense.
No. No.
If you defend Felipe Franks in that offense, you booted from the show because that was arguably one of the worser offenses in the SEC.
Well,
they didn't have a run game.
They put up 41 points on the best defense in the country. Yeah, that defense was 4 starters out, but still, man, no, that game.
Oh, so you don't get to have you can't have your cake both. You can't say this team was so horrible because they had 4 starters out, and then get to say Florida put up 40 points on one of the best defenses.
If Florida would have played anybody else like that, Clemson, Alabama, it would have been a close game. Florida probably would have won. I mean, where was that team all year long?
So I want to ask you guys a question real fast here.
Frank's got better. Frank's got way better the last 3 games of the season. I mean,
defend your Michigan team on another.
I'm going to.
I want to ask you guys a question. Since we're kind of going down this route, like a tad bit, do you think UK would have won that game if Josh Allen would have sat that game?
No, absolutely not. He had what?
He had
three
sacks and a blocked field goal.
3 sacks, blocked a field goal. No, man, no. I mean,
but we don't lose by 40.
No, we don't. But also,
so that proves the point that one or 4 players can make a difference in a win or a
you're damn right. I mean, if we're talking Josh Allen sitting out the bowl, we could have had 2 players sit out that bowl, Josh and Benny. We probably would have lost that game.
Okay, we would have probably lost, but we would not have lost by 40. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. You are correct, Matt. You are correct on that.
And I'll be honest with you.
Loss, man.
No, but there's a difference when we're talking tiers. And let's be real, this is a Kentucky show, but Kentucky, by no means are you talking in the terms of a national championship. Michigan, for the longest, was thinking we deserve to be up against the likes of Bama and Bama and Clemson.
True.
Not until we can beat Ohio State. Until we beat Ohio State, then we're not even in that conversation.
Clemson, now, Grant, there's a difference between 1 and 4. Clemson was down their best D lineman and still beat Notre Dame 27-3. You take the best 4 players off Bama, there may not be the dominance that they are. They're still beating Florida. They might not beat Oklahoma, but Oklahoma really caught fire down that home stretch. But, I mean, look, and I'm not taking anything away from them. I know that people, you take Benny Snell and Josh Allen off this team, we probably lose, I want to say, 28-14, 28-21, something like that, depending on how they would have planned for it. But for you to say, hey, I got to say, for any team to say I'm a championship contender, and that you can take 1 to 5 people and then get blown out by the number 10 team, I think that's. I don't think you deserve to be in that championship conversation to begin with. I'm just going to have that conversation. And then maybe to your point, it's right.
Okay. So if Michigan beats Notre Dame first game of the year, which we didn't, we run the table, lose to Ohio State. Don't make the Big
30, whatever it was.
Whatever. Don't make the Big Ten title game. Make a bowl game, and we're still ranked in the top 10, 7th, 8th, whatever. And we play a 10th ranked. Let's just snowball it. Central Florida team. Let's say they're undefeated. Like they like to be. And we get blown out by
Kentucky.
We're talking Michigan.
Okay, we're talking
or any team really.
Okay, we're talking Michigan.
Okay, and when we get blown out, that one loss is going to keep us out of a national title contention or talk.
Yes.
I guess it kind of depends on what league you're in.
I mean,
or what conference you're in.
If that exact scenario unfolded, yes, because if now that the season's pretty much over except for the championship game, and we can pretty much look back and see hindsight, you guys would have been left out because the way Georgia played Bama, they would have put Oklahoma 3 and Georgia 4. Because when you get beat, what was it, Mike, 63-38?
Yeah, it was pretty ugly
by your rival, and wasn't that at home, Chris?
No, it was in the toilet bowl.
Oh, okay, so it was in Ohio. So I just think you'd have been sitting out. Now, Mike, let's try to steer this big ship back onto the correct path. Mike, you were very passionate that Benny Snell and Josh Allen owed it to their team, to their coaches, to their fans to play this bowl game. And I think you could not have asked for more of this. They may have rested. We talked about it. Josh Allen came out a couple plays to rest. I'm all for that. Sidney Snell didn't carry the ball too much after he broke his record until it looked like we might lose, and then he came back in and closed out. Earlier in the season, when Josh Allen was quoted to be a top 20 pick maybe, he agreed to go to the Reese's Senior Bowl. Now that he might go 1, 2, or 3, do you think he should still own up to his original commitment and play in one more truly meaningless game?
Well, as far as the Senior Bowl goes, usually the Senior Bowl is for these smaller schools for their players to just get that one last look. So, I mean, no, I don't think he should honor that. Simply because it could give somebody else a opportunity to shine in that Senior Bowl. So, no, I don't think he should go. I think he should really start focusing himself on the draft. I mean, because being a number 1 overall pick, that is a life-changing, family-altering money that he could he could have. So there's really no point of playing in that Senior Bowl. Give somebody else a shot for that last spot there on the team, and hopefully he can make his dreams come true as well.
Chris, what about you?
I mean, honestly, man, this kind of strikes a nerve with me because I just had to go through it with the Michigan game. I don't like, personally, I don't like when players sit out bowl games. I mean, I had to deal with it last year or the year before when Jabril Peppers sat out, and we got our ass handed to us by Florida State because we had no defense that game. I mean, I just had to go through the same thing with the Florida-Michigan game. I don't like it, man. I think you've already played an entire season, 12 games, whatever, more than that, and wrist injury at every one of them games. I mean, what's one more?
Well,
what's one more?
Okay,
let me finish.
The Senior Bowl is nothing but yourself.
You're right, but in Josh's situation, which, I mean, theoretically, if you've ever watched the Senior Bowl or the East-West Shrine game or whatever the hell they call it nowadays, I mean, most players, they only play 2 or 3 series anyway, and then they sit and talk to NFL scouts.
If you're a top recruit.
The rest of the game.
Or, if you're a top pick.
Well, Josh is going to be. Even if he goes to that Senior Bowl and plays, he'll play 2 or 3 series, maybe if that, and then won't play anymore. I think, honestly, in my opinion, you're kind of spitting in my face as a fan if you don't step up and be a man of your word and play what you're supposed to. Like, man, I honestly, I can't stand that. I mean,
how many people here can say they watched the Senior Bowl?
Right.
I
don't.
Look,
I get your frustration, Chris, because it sounds like you're harvesting some from another love interest you have in Michigan Wolverines.
Well, no, man. I mean, any team.
He's not even going to wear the Kentucky uniform. He's going to be in orange and black.
That's fine, but he'll have a UK helmet on, won't he? He'll still be a representative of the University of Kentucky, won't
he? No, because
he sure will.
No, because what they do is they share stickers. They get their white helmet. They'll take their white helmet, and he'll have 15 different logos on there.
But still, when you see Josh Allen's name pop up on the bottom and his little stats and shit, what's going to be next to it? A University of Kentucky logo. And everyone's going to know.
No, it is going to be a projected third overall pick.
That and when was the last time that you can remember that we've had a player come out of this program that's on such a hype train and that everybody knows who he is. He's a household name, and he's going to be a top 3 pick in the NFL draft next year. I mean, it's been a while.
Okay, you got to that. So let me propose some other solutions because I get where you're coming from. I get it, whatever. But okay, what's more important for this program? Josh Allen stand on the sideline at this bowl game? Or let's say he gets hurt and drops to the second round. That's going to be more. That's going to have more of a negative impact.
Or doesn't get drafted at all because he's hurt.
That's not going to affect. That will not affect the program whatsoever.
Yes, it will.
Chris.
Hell no. We've got a 10-win season under our belt and just beaten a very good Big Ten team in the Citrus Bowl. You can't take anything away from this season, man.
You can't be a Kentucky fan and say that us flaunting our draft success isn't successful. Calipari makes a living off of it. Seeing a football player go seeing a football player walking
basketball,
across the
man. That's
seeing a football player walk across the stage on a top 3 pick would do more for this program than almost anything other than winning a national championship. See,
and we're going to see that.
No, not if he gets hurt.
No.
Not if he becomes Jalen Smith for the Cowboys, who fell to the 4th round. Not if he becomes one of these other footnotes. You had a guy yourself, Jake Butt, was a 1st-round tight end. Fell all the way to the 6th round or whatever because
torn ACL in the ball game and the Denver in the 6th round.
Say this happens. Okay, I get it if you're Benny Snell. I get it if you're these players. You just seen Josh Allen record 17, and I think it's 17 sacks, not 17 and a half. It's 17 sacks against one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. You've seen him against the likes of Texas A&M. You've seen him against the likes of Florida. You've seen him against the likes of Georgia. Though he lost that game, he still had a nice game, had 2 fumble recoveries. You've seen him put up these great season record-changing numbers against some elite opponents.
Won every Defensive Player of the Year award, pretty much.
For the most part.
Okay.
That can't be replicated.
No. Well, okay, let me
Those
ask
front
you this.
fours don't go as hard. So what happens if he gets out there and because he's overthinking it, doesn't play as hard because the game doesn't mean as much, and now his stock starts to drop? Now, because you know the NFL like everybody, what does the NFL love to do over those 3 months? They don't. The NFL doesn't sit there and like to talk about how this guy's a surefire number 1. This guy likes to sit and pick apart how you're not a number 1 pick.
No,
one game
is not going to affect his draft stock. Not whatsoever.
If he gets hurt, yes, it
sure?
will. He will fall out of the 1st round. He'll fall out of the 2nd round. If he gets hurt, tears the ACL, he is not getting drafted the 1st weekend.
One game will not affect. No, there's no way. Okay, let me ask you this. Okay. Back in '97, Charles Woodson wins the Heisman Trophy. He's still the only primary defensive player to ever win the Heisman Trophy. Now, let's say he plays that Rose Bowl, the national title game that year, gets hurt. Does he still not get drafted in the 1st round of the NFL draft the next year?
No, absolutely not. Especially not being a DB. No, absolutely not. No. I mean, you've seen it. Frank Gore, Willis McGahee, these guys breaking their legs drop off the face of the map. Why do you think your arch rival? Why do you think the other Bosa sat out the entire season when he hurt his foot?
Okay, well, let me just stop you guys here. Well, just hang on 1 second. I looked up the players that have already committed to the Senior Bowl. Josh Allen is committed to play in the Senior Bowl. Him and one other 1st-round projected pick is playing in the Senior Bowl, and that is Drew Lock from Missouri. And the only reason why he is playing is because he wants to be the 1st overall quarterback selected, and John Gruden is his coach. That's the only reason why he's playing.
Well, okay. Now, since you have you have the rosters for the game in front of you, Mike.
Well, like there's a list of committed players. Yes.
Okay, yeah, they haven't sorted the roster. They're not doing that.
All right. Well, how many other Kentucky players are even invited to this game?
There's one other that is committed, and it is I just saw his name, Mike Edwards, the safety.
Well, there's Mike Edwards, and there's a lineman, and then Jordan Jones committed. Now, I don't know if they're going to allow him to do it since whatever his eligibility issues were.
Yeah, he was out the Citrus Bowl because of academic issues.
And Lonnie Johnson.
I looked this up, and to Mike's point, Mike brought up a great point, because quarterbacks are weird, and quarterbacks can show out in a padless drill. That's how they evaluate quarterbacks. They don't need to play a full hard game to evaluate quarterbacks. So I can see why because Drew Lock could either be anywhere from the 1st quarterback taken to the 3rd quarterback taken, depending on how things they unveil. To Mike's point, I looked this up. Over the last 5 years, unless I missed like a late number 29 pick lineman, there's been 3 players drafted in the 1st round that played in the Senior Bowl.
And
Baker Mayfield.
Do you want to know why?
Josh Allen. Because they're quarterback.
Well, no. Because this game is only good for 3rd, 4th, 5th round players. And this is where people find their diamond.
They're trying to they're padding their scouting tape. That's all they're doing.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is the reason that the 1st round players that played were quarterback is because that's the only position that depending on one game, you can drop like that. Like that you can skyrocket because quarterbacks are so valued that if somebody takes Drew Lock number 2, next thing you know, you'll have 5 quarterbacks you never heard of going in the first round.
And they don't get touched in the game.
Exactly. But Josh Allen has no reason to do that. And fans would actually be mad. Look, if you're in any of these social media groups with Kentucky fans, there's one consensus temperature. It's we want something. It's selfish, let's be honest, but we're fans. That's what we want. It's we want something. Once you give us that, we will let you do whatever you want. So when I brought up because I brought up the poll, and this is what me and Mike started talking about and it found its way into the show. When I brought up the poll, if Josh Allen, who had a great season, got us 9 wins, set out the bowl game, would you all be mad? No, it was 9 at the time, before the bowl game.
Okay. Would I be mad if he sat the game out?
Hear me out. I positioned that question. Yes, everybody was furious because they wanted Josh Allen to deliver that 10th win. Once Josh Allen delivered that 10th win, I asked the question this morning: would you be mad if Josh Allen stood out the Senior Bowl? Nobody said yes.
Well, because we got our 10th win. Nobody cares.
Exactly. So you're the ones that here saying hurt our program you missed. So Benny Snell, for example, Benny Snell's an even better example. Halfway through the season, I asked if Benny Snell left early, would you be mad? About 70% of people said yes. If Benny Snell leaves before his senior year, we will be mad at him.
Yeah, but now he's an all-time leading rusher, so nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So why are you so passionate?
They got what they needed out of him.
Why are you sitting here trying to make a stand like fans are going to care if he sits out a game that literally has no impact on Kentucky?
Okay, well, no. For one, I'm not saying fans. I'm saying fans. Me. As a fan, it pisses me off. I wouldn't. No, man. As a fan, no. I don't like that.
You are mad all about the wrong reasons, man.
I mean, if you've committed to play an entire season,
his season is over. The Senior Bowl is an expedition game for these seniors that probably won't make it to the NFL, and it's an expedition game. Expedition. It is not the season.
And like I said, if you've ever watched that game, I mean, I've been to that game a couple times. It's in Mobile, Alabama.
It's a waste of time.
You have these. Yeah, it is a waste of time.
So why play the game if it's a waste of time?
Especially if you're already a lock 1, 2, or 3 pick.
I don't know, man. I guess that's me and like my principles and values. I guess if I've committed to play a game, I'm gonna play the game.
But you have.
I mean,
and look,
but
I'm
like I said, that game he's just gonna play 2 or 3 series and he's gonna sit on the sidelines the rest of the game. So really, it's not that big a deal. I'm just saying, me as a fan and me personally, if I've committed to play a game and to go out there and represent my university, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to find a way to get out of it. I've already spent the entire football season risking injury, putting my neck on the line or whatever to deliver to the fan. I'm going to keep doing it.
Perfect. Let me ask you this.
That's just me personally. Now,
let me ask you this as a fan. Just as a fan. And first off, for the listeners, the reason I'm giving Chris such a time, me and Mike, we've been known to butt heads because I think that's in our blood. That's our personality. I don't let Mike slide when he tries to be holier than thou, knowing that he shares allegiances with Kansas State. So I'm not going to let you slide coming in here being a honcho fan as you sounded more passionate about Michigan than you have our own Big Blue Nation. So for the fans listening, say, hey, why is our beloved host giving Chris for King of the Hill such a hard time? Let him know. I do not take lightly shared allegiance. But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question as a fan. Let me ask you a question as a fan, as a Kentucky fan. We're back on good terms there, Kentucky fans.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't you rather see? Let's just say Josh Allen says, you know what, I'm locked in. There's 1, 2, 3. I'm guaranteed money. I'm only going to work out with these teams, whatever. Because they do this. Because this is no different than when a guy thinks he's going to go 1 through 20, he works out with 20, 30 different teams. But once he's narrowed it down to 3 teams, or he's a top 5 pick, he doesn't work out with the Patriots. He doesn't work out with the Chiefs because they're not going to draft him. It's just a wasted energy and wasted risk. But let's just say his decision, and he hasn't made a decision. I don't know what he's going to do. But let's just say his decision to say, no, I'm bowing out, opens up an opportunity for a Chris Westry, a guy that's projected to go undrafted now. But if he shows out in the Senior Bowl, he could work his way into the 6th round. What if it opens up a roster spot for a Dorian Baker, a guy that's going undrafted because he's had a career?
Or a Chris
Hill. I don't see somebody that's a 5th or 6th round projected pick come in and play a Senior Bowl and ball out. I don't care if he does ball out.
Well, no.
He balled out
case,
right. Where was he the rest of the year?
Point case. I mean, Dak Prescott played himself into a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but before the Senior Bowl, Dak Prescott was about 7th ranked. They said he don't have an arm, he's not this, he's not that. Guys,
he doesn't have an arm.
You know who doesn't have an invite to the Senior Bowl? Or he may, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, you, but I don't know. I don't remember. I have to double check. What is this? Because you want to talk about somebody that can go from a 6th round draft pick, a 5th round draft pick, because of, we talked about this earlier, because of usage and numbers, but a great Senior Bowl might get him drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. C.J. Conrad, a big-bodied tight end that looks like Gronk, looks like Travis Kelce, looks like the Kittle guy out in San Francisco. Right now, if you look at any mock draft, he's around number 5. But if the kid goes out there and balls,
6 catches,
he might go 3rd round.
Score.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the position that allows it.
Honestly, CJ needs to be. I think if CJ played in a different offense, like it wasn't, because I mean, y'all can both agree we're a pretty run-heavy offense, especially with having Benny. We were a very, very run-heavy offense.
But that doesn't matter. If he plays well at the Senior Bowl,
right,
he could definitely project himself up higher.
And the thing that hurts CJ,
I mean,
is
he could also not even play in the Senior Bowl and then have an amazing combine and it move him up. I mean, there's so many what ifs, man.
Well, there is, but to your point about CJ and trying to get off that pedestal, because clearly me and Mike and you are on 2 different wavelengths, trying to ring it back in a little bit. C.J. Conrad struggled at Kentucky just because of coaches. And I'm not saying anything bad about Eddie Graham. You saw it against Penn State. Penn State had to punt on a 4th and 1 in an area where most teams would go for it if they were losing, because they don't know how to take snaps under center, because they didn't have a fullback. If you notice, Terry Wilson went under center very little. There are no fullbacks on this roster. This is a spread offense that just happened to have a good running back. Eddie Graham, Neil Brown before him would have preferred to have the old-fashioned air raid. Give me 4 quick receivers, let me throw the ball 50 times, a la Texas Tech. But we just happen to have Benny Snell and not really a good quarterback. Texas A&M or Texas Tech, and that's Mike, as somebody who probably pays a lot of attention to the Big 12, not a whole lot of tight ends out there.
Not a whole lot of anything but offensive quarterbacks, huh?
Right, quarterbacks and receivers, not even really running back. So C.J. Conrad just happened to be bad enough as a high school kid to come to Kentucky, and we just happened to play an offense that didn't allow for a tight end. Now, they tried to put some stuff in, but you could tell if you coached, if you played Madden, when you like to do certain things, you get away from certain other things. Like, you may make I'm sure every game he says, I'm going to throw to CJ. But in the heat of a moment, when stress is going, he's going to go back to what he does. And what he does is a spread offense that happens to have a good running back.
Yeah, and miss 6-yard in routes.
It is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you know what? We're going to talk about your team. We're going to make this. Look how much trouble you guys had when you got Rich Rod.
I don't even want to.
All right, we're going down a rabbit hole that's not really what we want to do.
But you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, put CJ in an Alabama Crimson Tide uniform. That's a little bit. I mean, they're not as front heavy as we are. They can pass the ball. They have a quarterback. He balls out there. I think you put him in any other kind of offense, and
not any other. You put him in Navy, he's not getting any catches. But if
they run the triple option, man, I'm not talking about a run offense. I'm talking about that.
But here's the thing: if you're if your pass offense is set up to have 4 receivers running a route, and they're all dependent on time and speed, tight end kind of loads that down. You know, if C.J. Conrad was 5 years older, 6 years older, if he would have played in Rich Brooks' offense, you know, look at all those tight ends we had. Or because he like 2 receivers, he run an NFL style offense, which now NFL runs spread. But CJ's great. I think he's going to be the next Travis Kelce.
I can see that.
He just didn't fit in our offense, and I think Eddie Graham tried to get him in there. He just wasn't committed to it. All right, guys, we've gotten really passionate. It took way more time than I ever wanted to take on that game. Real quick, because we moved the show, for anybody listening, we moved the show to 2 days a week so we could have less of this, more 30 minutes. But we're passionate about Kentucky. Even though we all love other sports, we all have other focuses, Kentucky's in all of our hearts. So I don't want that to ever be taken away wrong. What's our takeaway? What are we looking for? What are we expecting with this Alabama game coming up Saturday at 1? Mike, we'll start with you.
All righty, man. So this Alabama game scares me a lot. For one, it is the first conference game of the season. We are on the road, and just it is tough to go to Alabama for some. I don't know if they got some type of voodoo curse down there or something, but the Cats always seem to struggle in the state of Alabama, whether it be Auburn or Alabama. But that's regardless. What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for the freshmen to take big leaps and bounds. Just continue on the month of December that they had, improving each and like every game. And it is now time to really start to ramp up the things, to really find your 7, 8 guys that are going to be playing 18, 19 minutes a game. So I really look for Hagens and a Hero to really step up, start to be the leaders of the team, especially Hagens. So I'm looking for the guard play to really keep on improving, and for the leader out there, Reed Travis, to do what he does, and hopefully learn how not to foul and stay out of foul trouble, especially during SEC play.
Chris, what say you? Yeah, just kind of to piggyback on what Mike said. I think we're at that point in the season where Cal has got his guys. Our starting lineup, I'm pretty sure, barring an injury, is pretty set. What I want to see, honestly, I mean, I know we were all pretty hype on Tyler Hero preseason, and we were all pretty confident he was going to be our shooter, our 3-ball shooter, our big shot maker. If you watch the North Carolina game, he took a lot of big shots, but he missed quite a few of them. He gets a lot of open looks, which is great, but he's got to start sinking shots. The Louisville game, he went off for 24 points, had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block. He played 36 minutes and played his best game of the season. I want to see, can he keep doing that? If he can keep doing that, and Hagens can keep playing the defense that he plays and averaging what is Hagens averages
4 points a game.
Yeah, I'm talking about steals wise.
Oh.
He averages
around 3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4 a game. If you watch that North Carolina game, man, you could have called him Spider-Man. That dude was all over the place. Had a great defensive game. If he can keep that up, I think we're going to be fine. I am not even worried, not one bit, about this Alabama team. I mean, they had to go on a 24-0 run to beat Penn State, to barely beat Penn State. They barely beat a Liberty University team. I mean, how many people out there can honestly say they've even heard of Liberty University? I mean, their only big win, we could say, this year is they beat an Arizona team, and they only beat them by 3. I mean, they haven't played anybody. This is going to be a big test for them, and I don't think they're ready. I'm not worried, not one bit. I don't care that we got to go to Tuscaloosa. I'm not worried about it. If this Kentucky team can play like they did against North Carolina, defensively and offensively, and if we can just get shots to go our way, I mean, we took a lot of open threes in that North Carolina game that did not drop. We're fine. I'm not even worried. Not worried one bit about this Alabama team.
Well, I think you're cashing in too soon. Yes, they barely beat Liberty and Arizona and all this, but it's still we're Kentucky. We're Kentucky coming in there. The place is going to be sold out. Everybody's going to be hyped. Players know that other scouts are going to be there. We're going to get their best shot. To Mike's point, I think the reason they play us so tough is because the last couple of years, outside of Monk and Fox, we kind of really struggled to have some legitimate all-star guards. And Avery Johnson at Alabama kind of gets some good guards down there. I think Hagan's will be key. I think the game will be very close. I think we'll win by about 6. But I think, kind of talking to Chris here, that your thought process is kind of the thought process of our fan base right now. And I caution you because just like a movie where there's ups and downs, there's ebbs and flows. There's the star player, the hero has to struggle and overcome. There's still more struggles to come. There's going to be that one game. Not to mention we got to go to Auburn, we got to play Kansas, we got to go to Tennessee. We play each of those twice. Mississippi State's a solid team.
Very tough.
There's going to be a couple games. There's going to be a couple games that you're going to sit there and you're like, why are we losing this? And I just think that's what happens. Just how the Kentucky teams play, other than the John Wall and Anthony Davis team. So I think this might be one of those games, but I think we're going to pull it out. I mean, I just caution you, Chris. I know you're sitting there, no worry at all. You might find yourself worrying a little bit this Saturday. All right, guys. Well, we've already ran way over what we wanted to. If people tuned out, if they are tuned out, they're going to tune out before our last segment here. My favorite thing to do, you know the rules, Mike. We're going to start with you. Since we played this game, we've got two huge wins. 2 wins that have set our program to potentially changing the fate of the outcome of our team. I'm going to give you a team. I'm going to give you a game. You just say win or lose. We'll see. Last time I think we played this, Mike, you said you had Kentucky going 9 losses. Let's see if that changed a little bit.
Yep, 9 losses.
At Alabama.
We win this Saturday.
Texas A&M.
That's a win.
Vanderbilt.
Win, but very, very close.
At Georgia.
I'm going to say loss.
At Auburn.
Loss.
Mississippi State at home.
That is going to be a win.
Kansas.
Loss.
Vanderbilt.
Win.
At Florida.
Win.
South Carolina.
Win.
At Mississippi State.
Loss.
LSU.
Win.
Tennessee.
Loss.
At Missouri.
Win.
Auburn.
Win.
Arkansas.
Win.
At Tennessee.
Loss.
Ole Miss.
Win.
Florida.
Win.
So Mike shaved off 2 losses. He would have us setting at 24-7. I think that's about. I think Mike. I think that's appropriate. I mean, you shaved off 2 based off what you've seen, but you're still holding your concerns. Good way to go, Chris. I think you had them at 8 losses last time.
Something like that.
Let's see if it's changed. At Alabama.
Do it. That's a win.
Texas A&M.
Win.
Vanderbilt.
Win.
At Georgia.
That's a win.
At Auburn.
We're going to lose that game.
Mississippi State.
That's a win.
Kansas.
That's going to be a close one, but I think we drop that one.
At Vandy.
That's a win.
At Florida.
We're going to drop that one to Florida.
South Carolina.
That's a win.
At Mississippi State.
Win.
Ooh.
LSU.
Win.
Tennessee.
That's Tennessee at home.
Yep.
Tennessee at home.
We're going to win that one.
At Missouri.
Win.
Auburn at home.
That's a win.
Arkansas.
Win.
At Tennessee.
That's a loss.
Ole Miss.
Win.
Florida.
Win.
So to kind of mimic what Mike did, shaving 2 losses off somewhere. So
yeah, man. I see us dropping. We're going to drop one to Tennessee. Hopefully, it's not at home. And I see us dropping one at Florida probably when we travel to Gainesville. But other than that, man, I think that's it.
When I look at best case, I think best case we're losing at Auburn, at Tennessee, which would be 4 losses. If we want to stay a 1 seed and we want to play in Louisville, that's about as much leash as we possibly have. Losing
Absolutely.
at those two. Realistically, and I am going to cop out a little bit here, I see us losing probably 3 games in the month of January, 3 to 4, and then probably 2 games in February.
I was actually just about ready to say that same thing. Do not surprise if we lose 4 straight in January because we play at Georgia, at Auburn, Mississippi State, and and then KU at home. I mean, those 3 of those 4 teams are ranked in the top 25, and I think Georgia is a very underrated team.
Well, I don't see that happening, Mike. The one thing I see happening is probably even more so frustrating because I see us beating. Let's just say,
Run, Chris,
I don't know what's going on there.
Chris,
somebody's going somewhere.
Standing outside smoking a cigarette, y'all. Sorry.
I think this will be more frustrating than what you're saying, Mike, of losing that 4-game stretch. Let's say we beat Georgia barely, we lose to Auburn, beat Mississippi State, beat Kansas, then turn around and lose the back-to-back road games at Vandy, at Florida.
Yeah, I think that would hurt worse than the 4 losses in a row.
I don't know what would be more frustrating, losing the 4 losses to the Final Four contending teams, Kansas, Auburn type things, or beating them and saying, hey, we can beat anybody, and then also going out there and laying a frustrating goose egg.
I would say losing those 2 on the road, I think, would definitely hurt a lot more after we beat, KU or Mississippi State and Auburn. Like if we win 2 of those 3 and and then we drop those 2 games on the road, that definitely stings a little bit.
So this time I'm going to put it on it. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but I'm going to say loss at Auburn. I think it gets ugly. We fight hard, but we lose. Loss at Vandy, Florida, Mississippi State, all 4 on the road. And then I think we lose at Tennessee and then at Missouri.
So that puts you at 8 losses on the year?
Yeah, it put me and I actually think we go undefeated in the month of March, get to the Final Four. When April gets here, I don't know.
There we go.
All right, guys. Me and Mike have 8 losses. Chris has 6. We'll see how that goes after our game. Catch us. We'll be going back alive again or going back on Sunday. Any closing thoughts, anybody? Mike, Chris, anything?
I'm just excited for Saturday. I'm excited for Saturday. I'm looking for my man Reed Travis for his first SEC game. See if he steps up to the bright lights.
Yeah, man. Nope. I'll piggyback on that. I'm pretty excited for Saturday too, man. But I'm still pumped and juiced from that big Citrus Bowl win, man. I mean, it was a big year for us, the football program, and I'm pretty excited to see where it leads us, man. But we are done with football season, so it's time to get on the basketball bandwagon and let it rip.
Absolutely. Well, that is it. Thank you for joining us on Big Blue Breakdown. We'll catch you next time.
Go Cats.